While I was Surgeon General of the United States sitting in the White House, my brother was sitting in a prison cell due to crimes he committed to support his addiction.
Okay.
So mental health has always been important to me.
Okay, welcome back. LaVar Arrington here with my man Doc, the good doctor, Dr. Jerome Adams. I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, good to be here with you.
Conversations with a legend. And you're so active. You're doing a lot of things. Obviously, you're here. Two different things you're a part of right now. So I want to talk about the Hall of Fame health. Talk to me a little bit. Let's start there with Hall of Fame health and what that represents, what's your involvement, and what that is all about.
Well, just to take it back really quickly, when I was Surgeon General of the United States, prior to this pandemic that's consumed everything, one of the issues that I highlighted was mental health and substance misuse.
Amen.
One of the first things I did as Surgeon General was put out an advisory calling on more people to be willing to carry naloxone, which is an opioid overdose reversal agent, to save lives.
Okay.
That was professionally. There's a person dying every 11 minutes of an opioid overdose in this country.
It's gotten bad.
Epidemic that people aren't paying attention to because of the pandemic. That number's gotten worse. Went up to 40% increase in opioid overdose deaths last year for black and brown people.
Wow.
And it impacted me personally.
Okay.
While I was Surgeon General of the United States sitting in the White House, my brother was sitting in a prison cell due to crimes he committed to support his addiction.
Okay.
So mental health has always been important to me. But now I'm working with the Pro Football Hall of Fame to do three things, and very quickly, and we can go into a deeper dive on any of them. We want to increase access because a lot of people don't know where to get care. We want to increase affordability because once you know where to go, people can't afford care. And then we also want to lower stigma. We're working with athletes like Charles Haley.
Okay.
And I had a great conversation with him just a bit ago. Calvin Johnson is one of our ambassadors.
Okay.
You heard his Hall of Fame speech talking about pain and how he dealt with that. Working with those folks to destigmatize mental health so that people know it's okay not to be okay.
It's as a former player, that is ginormous. And I commend you for that, and I commend everybody who's doing that, because having the access is tremendous. Having the education is tremendous, because what you don't know can hurt you, and
Indeed.
It will hurt you. And one thing about us, you mentioned Charles Haley, he's a great example. We love self-medicating. You know, we have dealt with so much pain, and you've endured so much, and you figure out how to still be able to perform, because that's your livelihood, that's depending on it, that you get caught into the cycle of figuring it out.
Yes.
How do I self-medicate
How do I get
myself?
through life? So there was a study that came out that showed that 70% of NFL players reported that they'd used opioids. 50% of those people who'd used opioids said they misused them, because you get into this habit, like you said, of just dealing with life, chronic pain, CTE. Brain injury that people are dealing with. And then you have people like Charles Haley, who's now very open about his bipolar disorder, his anxiety, his depression, and he's not allowed to talk about it in the NFL locker room, or he wasn't back when he was there.
You get judged.
Exactly.
You get judged, and then now
you get called
it's
weak.
Weak equals liability. Is this player a liability? What do you mean they have mental issues? What do you mean they're battling depression? You know, it's like,
well, look
we're
at the
battling
combine.
depression.
I'm in Indianapolis right now, and the combine comes there every single year, so I see it up close more than most people, and how they particularly, and I'm going to call it what it is, for black and brown people. They want to look at character flaws. You know, we want to test your educational level. We want to see if you've had mental health issues. We want to see if you've had this, that, and the other. And it discourages people from coming forward and saying, I have a problem. And so that's why it's so important when you have a Calvin Johnson, someone who everyone looks at and says, man, I'd love to be like him. I'd love to have a career like him, saying, I was struggling too. And I want to make it normal for people to know, like Naomi Osaka, like Simone Biles, that it's okay not to be okay.
And it was a hot button topic that Simone Biles, you know, withdrew from what was taking place, and a lot of people looking at it and casting judgments and different things like that, because it's still relatively new to be open and supportive of these elements at play. So let's move on to fund recovery.
Mm-hmm.
How does that play a part in this, and what exactly is fund recovery? Because that's a major part of what you have going on as well.
Well, again, Hall of Fame Health, what we're doing is we're vetting programs across the country. So
Okay.
let's say you have a family member who needs help, or you need help. You don't know where to go. And even when you find a place, you don't know if it's a good place or a bad place.
Uh-huh.
We're vetting these places, and these are the places that the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies go to. These are places that our Hall of Famers go to. We want to make sure you know where to go, so you can go to hofhealth.com, and we can connect you with those services.
Okay.
But then you may not be able to afford it. We're negotiating rates, sometimes half price, with these top-notch institutions,
to get the care.
using the brand of the Pro Football Hall of Fame so that you can afford the care.
That's awesome.
And then fundrecovery.org is where you can go to get a scholarship if you still can't afford it. Because, and LaVar, you can speak to this better than I can, but it's just shameful how many former athletes out there are living paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
Even former NFL players can't afford sometimes the discounted care that we're providing. So we want to get them scholarships. You can go to fundrecovery.org and you can get a scholarship, or you can donate, because a lot of your people listening are doing pretty well too.
Right.
We want them to donate and help people get care.
Indeed. Makes sense. I mean, we are a community, and support is key, supporting ourselves. I mean, being a part of the Legends community, I actually started this show so that we could have a platform for legendary voices. I believe we're all legends in our own right, in our own way. So to me, this was super important to create a platform where we can have these conversations. So,
and one of the cool things that I've had the experience of learning about from talking to former players is they're regular people.
Mm-hmm.
They're regular people. I meet people like you. Like I said, Charles, and the conversation I had with Charles Haley will stick with me for the rest of my life. But Calvin Johnson I took my son to meet him, and you would have thought that they'd known each other for 20 years. These are regular people, and when you start talking about how you grew up, and I grew up in the country, when I talk about my brother who suffers from substance use disorder, when you talk about the struggles of being a black man and admitting, hey, I may need some help. You talk to these players, and it just normalizes the conversation in a way that I think is helpful for everybody out there.
Talking with my guy, Dr. Jerome Adams. You can go to www.hofhealth.com, or you can go to www.fundrecovery.org. All right, before I let you go, my last question to you is, with as much as you've accomplished in your life and being a Surgeon General and just having so much influence, what led directly to football? What led to the Hall of Fame?
Well, I'm the runt in my family.
Okay.
So my dad coached high school sports, coached girls basketball, coached baseball. I've got two brothers who are over 6 feet tall. My 15-year-old son is 6 foot, going on 6'1" and taller than me.
All right.
So I've always loved sports and playing with sports. I think it teaches you a lot that you need to know about life, teamwork, and beyond. And I think that athletes can have an impact well beyond what they do on the field.
Indeed.
In terms of being positive role models for communities. Every kid out there isn't going to make it to the NFL, isn't going to make it to be an NBA player or MLB player. But if they look at someone like you, I want them to say, I want to be like LaVar, not because he was a great linebacker for a team that I actually grew up rooting for. Mm-hmm. I want them to say, I want to be like LaVar because he's someone who talks about mental health. He's
Indeed.
Someone who takes care of his family and his community. And that's how you want to be like LaVar.
Love that. Love that. Well, look here. We got Dr. Jerome Adams here, the 20th Surgeon General. I appreciate you taking a little time out for me and doing this interview. It's so important. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. I'll ring that bell. Any way I can support you, let me know.
Absolutely. It's okay not to be okay. You take care of a broken ankle if you had it. Let's take care of our mental health, because if we do that, we'll all be in a better place.
Amen. Good to see you.
You too.
Appreciate you. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Dr. Adams, we'll be right back. This is Up on Game, Conversations with a Legend. I'm LaVar Arrington. Yeah, that's who I am. Don't hit stop yet. You know why? Because I'm still having a moment. Okay, now we can go.